Worst punishments in North Korea. North Korea has long been known for its strict and oppressive regime, but what many may not realize is the severity of punishments imposed on its citizens for even the slightest transgressions. From public executions to harsh labor camps, the North Korean government utilizes fear and intimidation to maintain control over its population. In this video, we will take a deep dive into some of the worst punishments in North Korea, shedding light on the dark reality faced by those who dare to challenge the regime's strict rules and regulations. From brutal beatings to forced labor and starvation, the punishments in North Korea are unimaginable and will leave you questioning the humanity of those in power. So buckle up as we explore the depths of North Korea's most severe punishments and the impact they have on the lives of its citizens. Death by squad. One of the most severe forms of punishment in North Korea is execution by firing squad. This method is typically reserved for crimes deemed to be extraordinarily severe by the state. However, this term is quite expansive in North Korea, encompassing not just violent crimes or high treason, but also actions perceived to undermine the regime. A chilling instance of this punishment is the case of two boys who were caught selling South Korean movies. These young boys found themselves staring down the barrels of a firing squad for an act that outside North Korea would be considered a minor infringement or completely harmless. Their executions served to reiterate the regime's intolerance for any cultural infiltration from the South. The stories like these from North Korea serve as a stark reminder of the brutal realities many North Koreans face for what many of us would perceive as trivial actions. Dog punishment. Another horrific method of punishment in North Korea involves a horrifying twist on man's best friend. Stories have emerged that Kim Jong-un has ordered the execution of individuals by vicious dogs. This particularly gruesome method of punishment is not widespread, but the instances reported are terrifying. An infamous case involved the execution of 4 government officials who had recently returned from a visit to America. Kim Jong-un suspected that they had leaked sensitive information to American officials. He allegedly had these men torn apart by a pack of starved dogs as a way to instill fear and control. Even more chilling, Kim Jong-un's own uncle, Jang Som-thaek, reportedly faced a similar fate for charges of treason. The use of such a brutal form of punishment seems designed to not only cause physical harm, but also to dehumanize and degrade those who are seen as a threat to the regime. These harrowing stories illustrate the lengths that the North Korean regime will go to maintain absolute control and obedience. Death by anti-aircraft gun. A particularly shocking form of execution reported in North Korea is death by anti-aircraft gun. This method, which uses a large caliber gun designed to shoot down aircraft, is often used as a spectacle for public executions. In 2015, a high-ranking military official was purportedly executed using this method for falling asleep during a conference attended by Kim Jong-un. The incident was seen as a symbol of the mercilessness of the regime, turning a trivial act of disrespect into a reason for a gruesome execution. Another instance involved the killing of the former Minister of Agriculture and Education on charges of corruption. This method of execution is not only cruel and inhumane, but is also intended to send a potent message to the populace about the dangers of defiance and the absolute power of the regime. Instances like these are clear demonstrations of how the North Korean government uses terror and shock to enforce loyalty and obedience. Public execution. Public executions are another common form of severe punishment in North Korea. They are not merely acts of retribution, but also tools of psychological warfare used by the regime to instill fear in the populace. These events are often held in stadiums or other public spaces, where crowds, sometimes even children, are forced to watch as a show of the regime's absolute power and ruthlessness. The charges leading to these executions vary from political dissent to more mundane crimes such as theft or smuggling. Many defectors have reported being traumatized by these experiences, which vividly illustrate the regime's extreme measures to maintain control. By making the public bear witness to such horrific scenes, the government aims to deter any form of resistance or rebellion, thereby ensuring obedience through fear. Punishment for smiling. In a unique display of severity, North Korea imposed a ban on smiling or laughing on July 8th, an annual occasion that commemorates the death anniversary of Kim Il-sung, the nation's founder. The punishment for disregarding this mandate ranges from public shaming to detention, as the regime views such acts as a sign of disrespect. During this 24-hour period, any form of merriment is strictly prohibited, including joyful gatherings or entertainment. North Koreans are expected to exhibit outward signs of mourning, with any deviations attracting swift punitive action. This seemingly small personal expressions regulation reveals the extent to which the regime is willing to control even the most private aspects of its citizens' lives. It's another example of how North Korea uses psychological and emotional manipulation alongside physical punishments to assert its dominance and control over its population. Punishment in Korean jail. The grim realities of North Korean jail punishment were thrown into stark relief with the case of American Otto Warmbier, arrested for allegedly stealing a propaganda poster during a guided tour in 2016. Warmbier was swiftly sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. Conditions in North Korean prisons are notoriously brutal, with inmates reportedly subjected to torture, forced labor, and inadequate food and medical care. Warmbier, after serving just 17 months of his sentence, was released in a comatose state. His condition suggested serious physical abuse and neglect during his imprisonment, underscoring the extreme harshness of punishment inside North Korean jails. This tragic case serves as a bleak reminder of the extreme risks associated with falling afoul of North Korean laws. Punishment for not voting. Voting in North Korea is compulsory, and failing to participate is met with harsh punishment. Elections occur every 5 years for the Supreme People's Assembly, and there is usually only one candidate listed on the ballot. Even though the outcome is predetermined, citizens are required to vote as an act of support for the regime. Failing to vote is seen as an act of dissent and is treated severely. Individuals who abstain from voting can be subjected to public humiliation, imprisonment, or forced labor. The regime uses the voting process not only to maintain the illusion of a democratic system, but also to keep a close eye on its population. It provides an opportunity for the government to check on citizens and monitor any signs of disloyalty or resistance. The punishment for not voting serves as a stark example of how the North Korean regime attempts to control every aspect of its citizens' lives, ensuring their complete obedience and submission. The repressive regime of North Korea relies heavily on extreme measures of punishment to maintain its firm grip on power. From public executions and death by anti-aircraft guns to regulation of personal expressions, the government employs brutal strategies that not only inflict physical pain, but also serve as tools of psychological manipulation. The shocking methods used within North Korean jails, the obligation to participate in elections, and the strict control over the personal lives of its citizens. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Knowledge Matrix and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.